There has been a growing level of concern regarding Islamic terrorism within the world, particularly now in Nairobi, Kenya, where 62 of Kenyan civilians were gunned down by Islamic terrorists from the Somali-based group known as Al-Shahab, which has been known to have connections with Al Qaeda. Particularly, what occurred in this event is that all Muslim hostages were allowed to go, while the non-Muslims were gunned down. Now, what I find most disturbing is the fact that this comes directly from the hadiths and the surahs of the Quran, where it says, spare the believers, celebrate the believers, and love the believers, while condemn the disbelievers, don't feel bad about the disbelievers going to hell, kill them all, and terrorize them in the name of Allah. Now, it's issues like these, as well as the the issue with Syria and them neglecting human rights and using chemical weapons on their civilians. This is becoming much, much more of an issue, and I feel it's time to address the elephant in the room, and that's this Islamic terrorism. Now, Islam poses a different threat to the vitality of the modern world, as its fundamentalists are, and its way of thinking is the direct antithesis with human freedom and democracy, such as the right to human rights and civil liberties. And as we've seen with how the nations are run under Islamic law in the Middle East, where if you say you're a Muslim in an Islamic country, but if you go back against your word on that and try to convert to another religion, they'll kill you on point. There's been issues of how they treat women in terms of like them being second class citizens, as well as their issue of advancement within education or in working jobs. Homosexuals are beaten like constantly and abused, and one of the interesting things, like going back, like if you're like essentially if you're like a disbeliever or an apostate, like you're just killed on the spot. And the even more dangerous part is that like the fundamentalists want essentially a theocracy to spread not just within the Middle East but also around the world. And I feel like this actually needs to be addressed. Now, am I saying I want all of Islam to disappear? No, but there needs to be a reformation. It needs to be just more than just fighting the fundamentalists, the fundamentalism within the world and the terrorism. There needs to be an issue that I feel like the UN must like take notice of, because we understand the issue of what happens when religion is left unchecked and the fundamentalism is on the rise. Because science, it could fly you to the moon. Religion flies you into skyscrapers. So until we actually find a way to reform Sharia law and reform the essential way of Islamic thinking, as noticed with the Arab Spring, as their own inhabitants are tired of living under these dark age rules that have been holding them back for over 800 years. Until this reformation of thought is like done and corrected and refined, there's always going to be an issue with Islam in our social species. A single pair of hands at work is worth more than a billion clasped in prayer. Thank you.